So today I'd like to share with you a story I was told by a man called Kevin Hathaway of his experience playing basketball growing up. So Kevin grew up in a small town in Idaho. The town was so small that if you wanted to play on the high school basketball team, you're pretty much guaranteed a spot. Well, it so happens that Kevin did want to play, even though he wasn't very good. Kevin's brother, on the other hand, was one of the star players for the team and was in almost all the time. So a standard basketball game would go that Kevin was rooting for his brother from the bench, except from times when his brother would come up to the coach and tell him, "I'm tired." And then he would sit down for a minute or two and Kevin would come in and play for those minutes. Now, one year, the team turned out to be pretty good. Not phenomenal, but in Kevin's word, the best of the okay. Okay enough to go ahead and qualify for the state playoffs. Now, because Kevin's team was the last team to qualify for the playoffs, they were put up against the defending state champions, a team that hadn't lost a game in 2 years. Pretty much everybody expected the team to show up, play a game, and then go home right afterwards. Well, the game started. The crowds were packed. Now, as the game went on, it turns out it was pretty tight, a lot closer than anybody expected. So close that the longer the game went, the more people started cheering for them. Now, he thought they were just cheering for the team. As it turns out, everyone else who was sticking around wanted an upset, so they had easier games later on. But anyways, the game went into overtime, and as it turned out, Kevin's team won on a last-minute shot. Now, Kevin's team didn't magically win the tournament. They went ahead and got blown out the next round by the team that was rooting for them to win, so they'd have an easier time of it, and that's what happened. But although that's a good story, it's not the reason I'm sharing it with you. The reason is that for years afterward, Kevin and his brother would tell about this game, how they upset the number one team at their family gatherings like Christmas or birthdays. Now, one year, Kevin told his family, "Hey, guess what? I won that game. I hit the game-winning shot." Now, his brother kindly pointed out to him, says, "Hey, Kevin, you were on the bench pretty much the whole game. What are you talking about?" So challenged to justify his claim, Kevin pointed out that when his brother magically got tired a couple minutes before the first half ended, he went ahead and went in the game and ended up shooting a shot that went in. At this point, Kevin spoke up and said, "Remember how the game went to overtime? If it wasn't for those 2 points, we never would have got to overtime. We would have lost the game." The thing is, points scored at any part of the game, not just at the buzzer or at dramatic moments, count just as much as those that make the highlight reels. So if we were to compare the 12 years of public schooling to a basketball game, that puts almost everybody at a different spot in the game. You fourth graders would be just at the beginning of the second quarter, whereas you sixth graders would be around halftime, and eighth graders would be about mid-third quarter, and you don't really get into the end game until you hit high school, fourth quarter. But just like we talked about in the video, points you score at any one of those quarters are just as valuable as the late game ones. So winning teams focus on doing things the right way every quarter and focusing on getting points all along the way because they know they'll need those when they get to the end of the game. So because it is just as important to learn to do well in school now as it will be later on in high school and beyond, for today's challenge, please share a way how learning to do well in school now will help you later on. All right, have a great day.